Hey guys, MD Prepper here, talking about more pocket pistols, concealed carry, small little micro guns, if you will, mouse guns as they tend to call them. This is the DiamondBack 380, my new favorite little everyday pocket carry gun when I can't carry anything bigger. Love this thing, had it for about a year and a half, 2 years, give or take, something like that. Picked it up as an upgrade to my little Kel-Tec 32, which I loved, but 380 is a better round. And I really like the cut and the lines and the design of this DiamondBack, because it's pretty much designed like a small Glock. Basically, it's the single stack Glock that Glock never made, from what I can tell. Now this one is made also in Cocoa Beach, Florida, just like the Kel-Tec firearms, and it's made down the street from them. From what I understand, DiamondBack is a company that was formed or came about after some folks left Kel-Tec and wanted to do their own thing. So the first entry was this DiamondBack 380, and they now have one in 9mm, which still needs improving. It's brand new. It's been out 6 months, something like that, 8 months. I've seen a few reviews of the 9mm that weren't so great. I don't tend to buy a firearm if it's new the first year it comes out. Let them work the kinks out. So anyway, the 380, tremendous improvement, relatively speaking, over the 32. About the same cost to shoot, maybe a little bit cheaper, but a better round overall. A lot of better defensive rounds now, you know, all that type of stuff out there. I went for the core bonds, which are generally considered some of the best defensive ammo for the 380. Can't remember the grains on that. That's downstairs in the box. I'm not talking about specific ammo in this vid, so heck with that. Now this is a lot more expensive than a Kel-Tec. Your Kel-Tec's going to run you $225, $250, something like that maybe, for a similar sized pistol. But this one's going to run you $350, almost up to $4 if you don't look around and don't do your shopping. I got this one at Academy. Academy for a long time carried a very specific style, this one, for a lot less, about $325 or so. I got this on sale a couple years ago on one of their little weekly sales for $300, give or take. I think it was $299, something like that, can't remember. The Academy ones were made differently. The standard DiamondBack has some very nice plastic sights that attach front and rear for a much better sight picture and all that. But this is a pocket gun. I don't necessarily think you want or even need extremely visible sights on it and all that. It's just one more thing to snag, and as much as I carry and as much of the abuse as one of my concealed carry pocket guns take, I didn't want one more thing to fall off on it. I'd rather have these. These are the machine sights. I think they're MS, the DB380 MS, I believe is what it was called. So, sights on it, very low profile, etc. If you can see that there. So, not a lot of picture on the sights, but you don't need that for a gun like this. So, as much as people talk about how great the sights are on the standard DiamondBack, I think that's extra. Just one more thing to break and mess up. I'd rather have this thing, you know, single part of the slide, personally. So, great little gun overall. $300, $350 I'd say is probably the standard price. So, about $100 more than your Kel-Tec line of 380s and 32s and all that. This one got a nice parkerized finish with some DiamondBack fish scales. I suppose there's, you know, intended to be snake scales, being called the DiamondBack, but whatever. Decent enough checkering down here on the grips. It's okay. It's fine. It's going to fit your hand just fine. You can actually get 2 fingers on the bottom grip here. Little bit taller, ever so slightly, than the Kel-Tec 32. So I think I shoot this a whole lot better. Generally, compared to the Kel-Tec, this is a much more accurate gun. Generally. About a 5-pound trigger pull on the double action only trigger. Let me show you, this thing is unloaded. If you can see that right there. Does not lock back on last round fired like most of your guns of this size. If you look at the back dimensions on it, the back designs, the side designs, etc., you obviously recognize this as very similar to a Glock. Takedown is exactly the same with your little tabs there. Not going to show that right now because that's not what we're doing in this video. We're talking about the gun itself. But very nice. I like it a lot. Doesn't have quite the same grip angle as a Glock, and I was kind of worried about that at first, but once I fired it, I have no problems with it. I think the grip angle on this small of a firearm is great. I think it fits it very well. Didn't even add a lower grip like I did the 32, little plastic rubberized thing. Just didn't think I needed it for this one. slightly wider, ever so slightly wider than the 32. Weight is slightly more. This one has a 2.8-inch barrel on it, which is more than enough for this type of firearm. 5-pound double action pull. The firearm itself is 8.8 ounces, which is about 2 ounces more than the Kel-Tec 32. Not checked in the weight of the loaded magazine, but it has to be almost identical to the 6 rounds of the Kel-Tec 380. Why? Because it's the same amount of rounds and single stack, etc. So probably looking at an extra 2.8 ounces or so. So this is almost identical in weight to the Kel-Tec 380. Slightly heavier than the 32. Size-wise, compared to the 32, it's identical, just about. Here's the 32 that I've got right here, which you just saw a review on. Let's lay one on top of another. Don't know if you can see that at all. Let me try and get this close to the camera. Overall length is almost identical. Height on this thing is ever so slightly longer, or wider I suppose, taller, on the DiamondBack, which gives you that extra finger attachment there. You get both lower fingers on it. And the width is just about identical. It's close enough. A little bit wider, I think. Feels a little clunkier on the DiamondBack because the edges aren't, cut down and smoothed off and all that. A little blockier like a Glock. Kel-Tec's got some angling on it and all that, as you can see, to cut down on weight. So, love this gun. Absolutely love it. Carry it every day now. Love it a lot. Does not wear the bottom side of my finger off if I fire this thing too much, unlike the little angled trigger guard of the Kel-Tec, which I thought would be a little annoying. In a defensive situation, I really wouldn't care, but for general purpose shooting, I like this one better. It's fired every single thing I've put through it, even the cheapest junk, the best defensive ammo, etc. No problems at all from the get-go. No fluff, no buff, didn't need to tune this thing in at all. Just took it out and shot the heck out of it. I know some people have complained about these things not chambering the first round of a better defensive round, that type of stuff, your hollow points. I've not had that as a problem. I really haven't. Everything is fired. Every single thing I've wanted to fire. So, very nice. The Parkerized finish on this thing has held up far better than any other Parkerized finish I've got on any of my other guns. This got its little wear marks and all that, as you would expect from Parkerized, but it's not bad, and I don't care. This is a carry gun. I don't care what it looks like. I expect to beat this up. It's not a safe queen. Anyway, great gun. Would obviously recommend pocket holster. This is my primary way of carrying. I don't believe they offer any little belt clips or anything like that like they do the Kel-Tecs, but I don't care. I pocket carry most of the time. Left or right pocket or rear pocket, something like that. Very lightweight. You won't know it's there. Good stuff. Like I said before, it breaks down like a Glock. Magazines, a little bit classier than most of your little pocket guns. This one's got your rounds marked on it there, which you can count. You don't necessarily need that. It's got the nice little DiamondBack emblem on the bottom. It's got DiamondBack along the back. Very nice. Very classic. Nice extra little touch that didn't need to be done, but they did. So, there it is. DiamondBack 380. This is definitely a higher quality firearm overall than the Kel-Tec. I think it's worth the extra roughly $100. This is obviously still under our $400 mark for the most part. These things tend to, at some of your standard gun stores, run you about $400. Look around. Go to Academy Sports, that type thing. I like the little metal sights on this. My understanding was they stopped selling those metal sights, and they didn't recall them. They just didn't sell them anymore from Academy. After I talked to one of the guys at Academy, he said, for some reason, they just stopped selling them. We didn't stock them anymore. So I don't know what the problem was. I've not had or seen any problems with the reliability in them. Maybe they just weren't making enough money. Those little plastic sights that were better ran you about $80 more. I didn't think it was worth the $80, personally. Now, I think the gun's great, and if that's all they had, I would have probably still bought one. But for a pocket carry gun that you need to carry anywhere, other than the Pocket 9s, which are a little bigger, a little newer and all that, I think the 380 is definitely the way to go if you're not going to carry a 38 revolver. 38 revolvers are wider. They only have a 5-round capacity. This one's got 7. Not tremendously bigger, or better, but this is thinner. I can carry this anywhere, no matter what I'm wearing. Any kind of pants or shorts, something like that. This is going to slip in any of the pockets I want to. So, great little gun. Highly recommend it for basic prepping. Again, if you had to have a single firearm for daily carry, get this one. Don't get the big Taurus Millennium, which isn't that big, but you can't carry it all the time. Unless I was living in the frozen north where I wear a heck of a lot more clothes. This is the way to go. Something along these lines. There's plenty of other competitors to this, Ruger, etc. But I'm not talking about those. I like my Diamondback. My little mini, uber mini, super baby Glock. Good stuff. Highly recommend it. Indy Prepper, out.